So the people all around this room are my central group, and actually we are going to talk about how to book shows because it's the #1 question that I get, Kim gets, everybody gets, because that's how we build our business. And I think the work in itself is really joyful, but the thing that throws people sometimes is we have to get our own work. We're like, how do I get the work? You know, it's easier just to show up for someone else and do a job that they told you to do sometimes than to drive your own business, but we have to. So there's really basically 2 places to get shows. Are you ready? At shows and away from shows. Seriously though, right? At shows and away from shows. And you really want to be working both components of your business in that regard at all times. And we're going to do like a couple of Kim's here. She's going to do a couple of visuals because I almost think that everybody has to have almost like, this is probably a bad word for it, but like a gimmick. You know, it's almost like it's signing the contract. Like, okay, we have a deal now. You know, like I'll do this for you if you do this for me, or like some kind of gimmick. I really believe in that. That kind of closes the deal. But let's talk about away from shows first of all. Because I think, where do you think the easiest place to get shows is going to be? At a show, right? For a lot of reasons, you guys. #1, because everybody, they're like right there. The jewelry's right there in front of them. It's beautiful. It's awesome. They're right in that minute, like wanting something, you know, like that's why, like with car salespeople, they always say, don't let them leave the showroom, you know. That's kind of how we feel when we're at a show. It's like you want to capitalize on that interest and that excitement right then. So when I'm working, I'm working. And no matter how many shows I have on my calendar, I have a goal of like 3, you know, at that show. Or at the very least, I'm not leaving without one. It's almost like nobody's leaving. Nobody's getting outside this door. Because I actually have like a visual of like, I want that line to go on forever. So whatever it takes, seriously, and everybody has a price. Whatever it takes in order to get a show at a show, that's what I'm going to do, whatever it comes down to. But the other place is away from shows. And most of you know that I used to work another business. I did the party light candle thing. And we would train on that then too. But now it's so much easier because we wear our product, you know. So we have so many different advantages with that, so many opportunities in order to book shows. And one of the things I love to do is like, okay, so we're in the fashion business. So let's brainstorm for a minute. Where are you going to find people that love jewelry?
At a store.
At stores. I'm writing. That means I want you to too. At stores. Thank you, Karis. Where else? If people are shopping for clothes, they probably love jewelry, right? Or in the fashion. Where else?
Or like a beauty salon. Or
There
like
you go. Karis is my favorite student today. Beauty salons, at stores. Vendor fairs?
Yeah.
I think waitresses, because they're doing something that's grindy sometimes and it will make them happy.
And they're girls, most of them.
Yeah.
Well, waitresses are all girls. Otherwise, they're a waiter. Okay. Where else? I want you to seriously think about the possibilities. Where do you see people with jewelry on?
Everywhere.
Right?
I mean,
let's really start to think about that everywhere.
Hospitals.
Hospitals, airports, church,
Convenience stores.
convenience stores. When I first decided to come work for Park Lane, I remember, I was praying about it and all that stuff, and the church, and I thought, even the least fashionable person in this whole entire church has earrings on. Everybody has earrings on.
It's a really bad morning if you didn't even put your earrings on.
But it was like, could have like, some of them don't. They have like a sweatshirt on. Their snowman sweatshirt, but they have earrings, and I'm like, everybody wears jewelry. Everybody wears jewelry. Everybody. Okay, where else? So we got vendor fairs, waitresses, hospitals, airports, church, convenience store,
Teachers.
schools. Oh my goodness. Clubs. Okay, jazzercise. Club. Yoga. You know what? This is going to sound really, really simplistic, but somebody asked me when I was new, because I wasn't from St. Louis, and they said, what people do you know? What other things are you involved in? And I said, really nothing. And they go, join something. And it really seriously is true. I've joined networking groups. I've joined networking groups. I've joined exercise places, not just with this in mind, but seriously, like, I actually do a lot of studying on this. And sales is just all about relationships. Mm-hmm. So you don't go in there thinking, I'm only joining this to get jewelry shows, but like things like that will come from it. You guys have like play dates and moms clubs and stuff like that. Okay. So actually the venues for sharing our product are everywhere. They really are. So where's the disconnect? We're personal shoppers. We can get jewelry on people for really great discounted prices. We can give them free jewelry. So where's the problem?
They haven't heard about it.
They haven't heard about it. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And why haven't they heard about it?
Because I haven't talked to them
Because Val talked to them about it. Exactly. But isn't that true? So here's what's happening, okay? We're running across people day in and day out, all right? And we're thinking, sometimes you have this whole stress-inducing conversation in your own head. Some other person doesn't even know what just happened. Right? You're going, I should say something to her. I really should. Oh my God, I can't. I'm so nervous. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, see? Nothing happened. You're gone. They don't even know that you had all this internal dialogue and nervousness, But after you get kind of just like release that part of it and you get just more comfortable with it, and almost like it's just a sharing thing, and you're not attached to the answer. See, it's when you're coming from a place of fear that you're attached to the answer. It's like when you're going out there thinking, I gotta get a show, they have to, I need it, then it doesn't come out right. But when you're just visualizing a full calendar, or you're just kind of thinking about it as a nice person, to just mention it to them, and you're not attached to the answer, you're still making a connection. And one of the things about great salespeople is they're very, very patient, because it's about relationship building. And it's not about what that person's going to do for you right then, but it's that you're willing to build a relationship. And like sometimes that very person that you spoke to about it, this is huge. Every person knows like 800 people. 250 is their immediate circle of influence. 250. So every time you talk to somebody, even if they aren't an immediate yes, they're a connection to 250 other people. And they might not say yes that day, but you've still got a relationship with them. And honestly, I just think I'm a perfect example, because I'm not from St. Louis. A lot of the video people don't even know this about St. Louis, but the biggest question here is, where'd you go to high school? Immediately, I'm ousted. Immediately, because they didn't go to high school here. I learned to lie, Where? Ladue. That's the richest place in St. Louis. No, I don't lie. But I play. Because now I ask people what high school they went to. And then when they reciprocate, I'm like, I didn't go to high school here. And they're like, well, why'd you ask me? I go, because then all these connections, like I get it now. But especially in St. Louis, like if you didn't go to high school here, if you didn't have a group that you kind of grew up through the ranks with, it's harder. St. Louis is almost like, oh, we have our friends, we're not hiring. We have our friends from elementary school and up, we're not hiring. So I always say like that I could discover and be part of such a huge network was this kind of stuff, just a little bit at a time and connecting people. Okay, so one of the things, I'll tell you a big secret, is that if you are making connections through these types of groups, it's not even always about you, hardly ever about you. But if you start figuring out or just wanting to do for these others, the relationship starts. And then it's going to sometimes segue into your jewelry business, okay? Now, here's one thing. You literally can go out and say, this is a day of booking shows. I'm going out into the world to book shows on purpose with strangers, okay? I've done it. I've done it with, and I've brought people with me. So we'll go to the mall, I'll go up to I always buy something because that helps. So I'll buy a little something from the sales lady, and then I will purposely say, your jewelry is beautiful. Oh, thank you so much. They always have something on. And I'll go, I'm so interested because that's what I do. I'm a personal stylist. I'm in the jewelry business. And they always ask where, or they'll say something that will lead me to say, it's really kind of ritzy. I rep a line out of Chicago, and it's strictly personal appointments and private showings. And I'll say, as a matter of fact, and I actually love when I have someone else with me, because then, like, at that point I might, turn to Melanie and go, don't you think she would be really a cute model for our next fashion show? What is that? I was like, I gotta plan one. Better get one on the books. No, but I'll say something like that, or I'll say, don't you think she would be so cute, like we could use her at our next sip and style? And like purposely flattering her, inviting her to something, may or may not come from it, but that's just something that you're doing all the time. And when you really look, I hate to stereotype, but guys that are in sales, all about all that kind of stuff. What's the first thing guys say to each other at a cocktail party or whatever? What do you do? And that's like what we've kind of been missing out on in the good old, we don't have the good old girl network, it's the good old boy network. But it's kind of like, so if you're looking for ways to compliment or help other people, and with her, it'd be like, come to a fashion show. When someone tells me, this happened at Melanie's show, someone tells me that they sell something else, I'll say, what we should do, and women really should be supportive of each other. What we could do is, I'll have a showing for you, and you have a showing for me, and then that right away takes us into whole other lines, So again, if I had to start all over, one of the things that I would do is I would Google, and I would find a pampered chef lady, And again, it's about helping them, not me. But I'm going to tell you in all honesty, they very often end up coming over to Park Lane. It's the soft sell. They compare the programs, they see what's happening, and they're like, I think I'm going to ask her about that, or things together. And there's some people that might even be watching this video and disagree with some of my philosophies, because a lot of people don't believe in doing shows for other vendors, but I do for that reason. And because they usually see what we have and stuff, and then they want part of us. I'll even do things now, because you guys have seen my calendar. I'll say, you know what, in all fairness, it's only right that we would reciprocate and do shows for one another. My calendar, I don't have any nights free anymore because of the scope of my business. However, if I hook you up with one of my reps that's really, really good, she can do a show for you and you can do it. And then, like, if I ever come to one of you guys with that, that's the deal, but it'll take you into whole. And again, I meet people every single day out and about all the time. So this is how I can do things like that, okay? Okay, so you're out and about and you meet a waitress. What are you going to do in order to bring Park Lane into the conversation?
Talk about her jewelry. Or tell her that her fashion, like, she seems like a really fashionable,
Yeah.
It's really cute, you have a cute ensemble, or your hair's really cute, or do something.
Right. And right away you're not going in for the killing, so how are you going to... Bye, Val. Get one last shot of her. How are you going to make it...
We can talk about her job, how do you like this, just get to know her a little bit.
And really care about her and what's happening, like I'd love for you to watch. I want you to try it because you're going to get more comfortable with it. And again, you are not attached to the answer. You're just attached to the fact that you would actually love her to have a piece of Park Lane. This is one thing, like this Go Giver challenge we're doing now. So much comes from that, because like I might actually take the bracelet off my wrist and say, I want you to wear it, I want you to have this. I'll still give you a tip, and they laugh, and nothing may come from that right then, but I might say, I'm going to come back in a week and see how many compliments you got, okay? I'll come back and see how many people, noticed it, and maybe just keep that relationship alive somehow, okay? Or, I've put necklaces on the waitresses before when we do like sip-in styles, and I'll just say, I want you to wear this for the rest of the night, and just tell me what people said, and they come back, and they're like, oh my gosh, they're so fun, and I'm like, we need to come back. I mean, you work here. I'll do a sip-in style for you. We'll just do one with the girls from work. It's, it'll be really fun, or we can do it someplace else. And they're like, okay, you know, so that's a way to like take advantage of those opportunities when you meet really cute girls out and about. They're not strangers anymore once you've started a conversation with them. You're at Macy's or Nordstrom and you're trying on clothes. And you're like, no, and sometimes I'll say, you know, I do need to ask you this because you are the perfect demographic. You're exactly, I'm in the jewelry business, and we need people like, opinions from people like your age or your height or whatever's not, like if it's 90, you don't want to say your age, that's maybe offensive. We're wondering about people that use games. But if you just find something about them, you know, and it's like, it would mean so much to me if I could just show you a few lines of my jewelry and just get your opinion. And they always say yes to that stuff. Always. You know, you're like, when's your break? I'll come back. Just want to get your opinion. Now, where you have to realize is that sometimes you're not going to get anything out of that immediate. But if you give her like a bracelet for her time or whatever, and she goes back up into the store, and then next time you're in there, you know, you go, hi, you know, and she, you know, her other girlfriend's there working the register with her. Amazing things happen. So that like is the out and about stuff that will happen. And you just want to start cultivating it, and it starts to come back to you in huge ways. And you want to be working it all the time. And Deb, I told her story right from convention stage, but Deb goes to the same convenience store every day for her Dr. Pepper, right? How many years was it? 4 or something?
A lot.
But she rolls out of bed, takes your kid to the bus stop or something, goes and gets your Dr. Pepper and goes home. She works from home, her other job. She goes, pony, she still looks adorable, but no jewelry or anything. And she came to one of these things, something that, like this, and she's like, very next day, she got up, took her shower, put her jewelry on, went to the same register with the same register lady, and the lady goes, oh my gosh, I love your jewelry. She had a show, and she's the one that won that CEO challenge, wasn't she?
Yes,
the day with the cash.
$500, yeah.
Yeah, she won $500 cash in the drawing that we were doing at that time. And she knew Deb like first name basis every day, you know, but she went in with a purpose with her jewelry on. So she called me, she goes, okay, you're not going to believe this. But it's a true story. So a lot of times you have to be out and about with a purpose, you know, with an absolute purpose for people to notice and talk about your jewelry. So any other questions or ideas?
The last time you did the Go Giver challenge a while back, I had on a necklace. I was at the post office mailing some prizes to some customers in my secret group, and the gal commented on my necklace, and she said, oh, I love it. It was silver. I don't remember the name, but anyway, it was silver. She kept going on and on about it. And I told her, oh, I'm in business, and she's like, oh. I said, this is what I do, and she said, okay. And talking a little bit more, and before I turned and walked away, I took the necklace off and gave it to her. And I didn't give her my card, I didn't give her anything else, just wear it and enjoy it. I said, I'm in here often enough, I'd love to see what people say, just what you said. It was probably a month before I'd seen her again. And I go back and she's like, I've been waiting for you to come back. I didn't know who you were. I need more of these pieces. She loved it. Had a show with her. Now we're on first name basis. I go to her line when I go to the post office. So I love it. And doing things without expecting something in return comes back tenfold. Might not be immediate, but it'll be at some point. So
yeah, and it's also way more fun. I mean, think about it. If you're like, okay, I'm the jewelry fairy, I'm gonna make sure jewelry gets on people today. That's so much more fun than thinking I'm gonna go out and ask people their shows, and they're gonna say no. You know, like that. Just think about the difference in how you're cultivating and growing your business. And this isn't a new concept. I mean, it's like when I sat down with the people that started Park Lane with me, and I said, this is the deal. Park Lane has hired us to market the jewelry. Not to do shows, to market the jewelry and have Park Lane catch on in this area. What are we gonna do? And that's when it just became so much more fun, and obviously it was successful. Our group's the biggest group in Park Lane, but we sent jewelry, and we haven't done this in a while, so news anchors, you know, anybody on TV. Kim did a Tell 'em About Your Radio commercial.
oh yeah,
She's on the radio.
my ad's out there. It's pretty exciting. It's really exciting.
I hope right this minute your mind's expanding. You're thinking, okay, wait a minute. What if all those places that do like I don't even know what they're called, but you know how there's places that they try to get women in business clothes, like women that have been on hard
Dress for
times.
success.
Dress for Success. Okay, so organizations like that. And if you were like, how can I reach out to them and like donate jewelry? You know, one time this girl, I thought this was so clever. It's just to get your mind brainstorming. But right around Christmas time, she called nursing homes and assisted living and offered to go in and just help people do their shopping because they couldn't get out. And she said, in all honesty, she said it wasn't that successful with the older people, but the workers all were so grateful that she did that because she gave them little gifts and stuff, and it was like a break in their day. But a couple of them booked shows. And if you ever measured like where those things go from that one show, it's like amazing. So a lot of things that you can do through other people, you know, with that you're not expecting anything from them. So for my thinking, I'm like, what if I went into a beauty salon, I went to the front desk and I said, and I know what you guys are thinking, and we'll address that in a minute, and I'm saying, I have 5 necklaces here. I want you to have people wear them every day for the next week and just see the comments they get in the mirror. I'll be back in 5 days to pick them up, you know? And that's all I said at that point. Now, are any of you going, well, yeah, but you have more money and more jewelry? Because that's always what people say to me. But I'm always like, which do you think came first? Which do you think came first? You know? It's like when you're coming from a place of abundance, you're going to have more come back to you. If you're coming from a place of lack and you're too afraid to even let go of a single thing, then you're not going to get as much back. It's just almost like an investment in people, you know? So, or you're, the other day I was doing a show and they were talking about, everything was about their girls' dance. And I said, oh, you were there. So, and you saw that change. And I said, you know, do you guys ever need to raise money? And the little girl's like, now you're talking my language, you know? Whole different feeling when I started talking about how I'll do showings and I'll donate back my profit or a certain amount of my profit. And I said, we have official fundraisers where you have to have like your tax ID number and everything. I said, but then I will do fundraisers for, let's say, your family needs like $300 to pay for a dance costume. You've hit on hard times. Or I said, I'm not going to tell anybody that that's what we're doing, but I'll donate back my profit. And I said, the advantage to me is you're going to introduce me to all your friends. I'm going to, you know, have so many more opportunities to get Park Lane on people. I go, it's just a confidence between you and I. And I've had people take me up on stuff like that. Now, when I'm not going to lie, that when I have to write the check, sometimes it's like, ooh. But it's also, I also made a friend for life. I made a relationship for life. And they like tell everyone, you know, oh, you need to have a jewelry showing with her. She's so awesome. But that's like the stuff that I mean about starting, you know, like where could you serve a need with your Park Lane jewelry? Okay, so those are the things that you kind of want to be cultivating outside of a show.